I think I'm starting to get the handle on this. I think I'm starting to get it. But you know what? Next time I think I'm gonna play music with that last little video slide thing I made there. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm really liking this stuff.
It's great. And you're having fun with it. That's what's so cool. That's how it should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, I do like it. It is fun. It's a lot of fun.
Good.
So welcome to the show, Andriana. Thank you so
Thank you,
much for
Shauna, for
being
having me.
Yes. So Andriana, everybody, is a friend of mine in California.
Yay.
She is also in the Bay Area, right? She's also a fellow Subto member. Her and I clicked immediately. And then, of course, we found out she's a hairdresser. I used to be a hairdresser. And, we just had a lot in common. I'm making a lot of friends in Subto in California.
See, you got to come out. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make some rounds all up the West Coast. Like I have a friend from high school in Washington, and then my daughter's in Oregon, and then I have all you guys in California. Yeah.
Perfect. Road trip.
Yeah, road trip. I'm gonna have to fly over there. But man, that's you're all kind of spread out though.
Yeah.
But
it's pretty.
But anyway, so you look gorgeous as always.
Oh, it's my first time blow drying my hair since my surgery.
Yes. Tell us about I just had hand surgery as well. We have so many parallelisms. I mean,
know. Crazy.
I got the bandages off. Wait, where's
you don't have it. Oh, there. Yeah.
This
that's good. I don't have my brace on, but it's still, look how awful that is. They had to fuse it. A big metal plate in there and a bunch of screws. So I know.
That's a lot worse than mine.
Yeah. It's only 2 weeks out, but when I'm just sitting here, I can take it off. So it feels good not to have the big brace thing on it.
Yeah. So what happened, if you want to tell us?
Oh, yeah. If you have a dog, be careful. I was walking my dog. This happened October 30th last year. It's almost been a whole flipping year. And it was a Sunday morning, nice and quiet out, thank God. And I was walking downtown. I live right above downtown. And my neighbor, who my dog loves his 2 dogs, was across the street and it was a red light. And so I was waiting, or I was he was trying to go and I'm like, wait, sit. I made him sit. And then the leash kind of crumpled to the ground. So I grabbed it and just kind of had it all in my fingers. And I was trying to hold him still. And I'm talking to my neighbor, waiting for the light to turn. He just bolted and the leash wrapped around my finger, rotationally dislocated, broke it, and tore all the ligaments and tendons inside. But the craziest thing was, thank God no cars were coming, but the craziest thing was that the stupid doctors just put a splint on it and said, we have to let the break heal. And I go, are you sure? I said, it's really crooked. It's first when I went to, it was awful. It was a whole fiasco. And finally, after I kept questioning them, and after about 6 weeks, I was like, I'm going somewhere else. I fired them. I went to San Francisco, and the guy was like, you should have had surgery the first day. And so then on the 8th week, I had surgery, but he just pinned it. And so he didn't even actually know what was all the full thing that was wrong with it too. And then it got infected and I was on 8 weeks of antibiotics. And then it was just a mess. And I was not happy again because it was still crooked. It ended up going back out again. I was like, what the hell? And he was like, well, that's because it was whatever. He was making excuses. It was all kinds of shit. So then I don't know if I can swear on here.
What? Oh yeah, I clicked the not for kids. So
okay. So and then basically I got rid of that insurance. I got new insurance, went to some really great doctors, found this woman in San Francisco who was amazing. And she was like, you had so much stuff done to your finger, so many bad things that it should have just been fused from the beginning. And then 6 weeks and you would have been done. So I've been suffering for a year, amazing, excruciating pain for this whole year, and going through depression and all kinds of crazy stuff. And when it could have been fixed in, it's not going to be great, but it would have been just 6 weeks. And then I would have been back to work, all good, and not have to deal with all this stuff.
And the worst part is your hands are your livelihood, because
I know. And that's all I kept saying to the doctors was please, like when I went to the emergency, I was like, please don't touch it, because I had gone to urgent care because I couldn't get into anybody. And he was like, oh my God, your finger's really bad. I would go to emergency. And so I went to emergency and I brought my x-rays with me. And the guy's like, oh, I'm really good with dislocated fingers. And I was like, please don't touch it. He said it was really bad. And it's my livelihood. It's my dominant hand. Please don't touch it. He goes, okay, I'll just look. So he was looking at it and he pulled my effing finger when a kid walked in the room. And I screamed and I was like, I just asked you to your face. Oh my God. It's been a nightmare. So
this is where my attitude comes from, like stuff like that, like I've been working on it, but yeah,
So,
I mean, oh my God, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out, what does it mean? I mean, I know the universe was probably trying to get me to slow down and sit, but this is kind of, a whole nother level.
Maybe it wasn't so much your injury, but maybe it was the people not doing their due diligence in their job or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe that.
I feel like I was really sticking up for myself, which is not something that I do. You know what I mean? I feel like I really was, because it's always like, oh, they're doctors, they should know better. You know what I mean? And but I was like, are you sure? I mean, I just wrote up a whole summary and sent it to like all the different departments to make it, to have an investigation, and reading all throughout all the notes and my messages back and forth. From week one, I was questioning it and going, are you sure this doesn't sound right? It doesn't seem right. Shouldn't I see like a hand specialist? I didn't even see an orthopedist for like 3 weeks. I kept seeing the person I kept seeing, I thought was the orthopedist, and he was the PA. It was just like, so, it's just been, it was interesting. So, but
I think doctors need to listen to the patients more. I don't feel like, I mean, nobody knows your body better than you, right?
Yeah. I mean, even when clients come in and they tell me about their hair or whatever, I go, well, you tell me, what is notorious about your hair? Let's say I'm starting somebody's blondes for a reason. I go, do you remember them saying it takes a really long time or things like this? Because they've been doing their hair for how many years? They know, you know what I mean? Rather than me just trying to figure it out from the beginning. And, and so I always listen to the people.
Yeah.
So, but
oh my gosh. I mean, when I was born, my mother told the doctor that he's like, okay, well, I'll be back in a little bit. I got a couple other women giving birth here. You're not ready yet. She's like, no, this baby is coming right now. And he's like, no, you got a little bit. Like, I'm telling you, I was born with no doctor in the room.
Oh, how did you?
We joked about it.
That's funny. Did you come really fast?
Yeah, and we joked about it my whole life. My mom was like, from day one, you were like, I don't need no help being born. I'm gonna do this by myself.
That's so funny. That's another thing we have in common. So my mom was like, oh my God, my water broke. I mean, my dad practically threw her in the back of the van, and they drove off to the hospital and like barely got into a room, and then out I came screaming my bloody head off.
Oh man.
So, it's another similarity.
And then the doctor told her when I was a baby that when the baby's crying, she was like, the baby's crying all the time, and they're like, don't worry about it, they're just having a temper tantrum. Little newborns do not have temper tantrums.
Oh, was something wrong?
So, well, I don't know what was wrong. Maybe I had colic or something. I have no idea what was wrong, but the point of that is I would cry so long, so loud, so hard that I gave myself an umbilical hernia. I had to have an operation when I was 6 weeks old, and to this day I do not have a belly button.
Oh, what? You don't have a belly button?
I have a belly button.
Really? You're like a Barbie.
Right. It's like, I don't have a belly button. It's like the funniest thing. It's like, but I don't care. I've been wearing bikinis my whole life. I don't care.
Wow. So that's good. Well, it saved you from getting a belly button ring. Like the rest of us.
I did that twice. And it's so weird. It's like taking a piece of flat skin and going like this, and then just pinching it and piercing it. and my body rejected it both times. It just like pushed it out.
Yeah,
So weird.
that is funny.
But yeah. I got an eyebrow piercing, a nose piercing, and a belly button piercing all in one shot when I was younger. I'll never do that again. I was supposed to go out that night and I was like, yeah, I'm just getting some piercings. I'll be out, you know, and I got the boom, boom. And then I'm walking out like, I'm not going anywhere.
You're like, I can't laugh. I can't raise my eyebrows. I can't blow my nose.
It was so funny. Oh my God. They were like, I thought, you know, I think I'm Miss Tough. You know, sometimes you're not as tough as you think you are.
Oh my God.
Oh, geez. I'll
That's so
tell you.
funny.
But like, remember the old hairstyles with, did you ever have a perm?
Oh, of course, all the time. And it was always right before something big, like right before 8th grade graduation. And it's like afro.
Yeah. So you probably have always had long hair like me, right?
No, well, when I went into beauty school, I went in with really long hair and then I had probably like 40 cuts and 40 different colors. And I ended up with like super short Pat Benatar hair.
Oh,
Like that, like, yeah.
So there's been only a couple times in my life when I've ever had short hair. I just hate the way short hair looks on me. I had to grow it out.
Yeah,
You
well, I
know?
have the curly hair, so when I do it short, it just turns into a big ball.
But my hair's always been like super, super long. And I told you I had dark red hair, right? But it's always been super long, like down to my waist most of my life, right?
Wow,
And can you imagine
you have a lot of
before
hair.
the spiral perm rods were invented? Can you imagine?
Did they had to like roll like 6 inches and then another one, and they did the big crisscrosses on the, yeah.
Piggybacks with like 3 or 4 rods and one strand of hair. So
And
if
if they
you can
miss one,
imagine
then you don't
the
have a
weight
straight
on
spot.
your head, I should have like a bulging disc in my neck right now. Because then you put the water on it, you're rinsing off the perm stuff, and you're like, somebody
Yeah,
lift my head up.
I
Like,
know.
stop
It was
me,
like
man.
torture giving perms. It was awful. I was constantly saying, I'm sorry, just a few more minutes, you know?
It was like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh. It was so, yeah, that was like the worst. I'm telling
yeah.
you. And then the finger waves. When did you get your license? Was it when you were super young?
83.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, you got your license before me.
But
Sounds
yeah,
like
I miss doing, man, the one thing that I loved about the 80s was all the punk rock hair. Oh, so much fun to do.
the teasing.
Well, just the punk rock stuff, like, you know, shaved bits and spiky stuff and asymmetrical and all the colors and shaved stuff with engraving is underneath. Like, it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
It was really,
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, the spiky hair. That was
I had
fun.
every color. I was always like jet black or purple, or I always had crazy hair color.
Did you see the pictures where like I've never had crazy hair like all the way up to my scalp, but I used to have it like black underneath and all this blonde, and then about here on down, it was like a light bright
Oh
pink,
yeah,
and
I
then
saw the pastels. Yeah, that looked really pretty. I like that.
yeah,
Just a few
yeah.
years ago, I had like a big chunk of hot pink. It was really fun.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
yeah. So you've had the short hair, you've had the oh my god, and then the clothes to go with it. Remember leg warmers?
Oh yeah, and I had to have the matching belt with the leg warmers
And you wore the leg warmers
and
over
the
top
big
of your
huge earrings.
jeans.
Remember the big huge earrings?
Oh god, yeah. So this hole right here, my daughter used to grab onto my earrings with her little baby hands,
Oh,
and this one right here is just split a little bit too
no, you can
far.
get that. You can get that sewn up.
Well, I mean, it's okay. I don't really wear heavy stuff in it, and it's like it's not all the way through. It's still got,
Well, that's
you
good.
know,
Just kind of
yeah,
hanging there though.
yeah. It's like, man.
So funny.
So, and then the parachute pants,
Members only jackets. What about ditto jeans?
break dancing, Jordache.
Yep. And the other one, the super ritzy one with the lady from Rhode Island. What were those jeans called? They were the super dark ones.
I don't know. You West Coasters are like way more in style than us East Coasters.
I'm blanking on it right now. It'll come to me.
I don't know. I can't think of it.
Is
I
it
might have some friends who, and then even if we did know, half of us can't remember.
remember Jordache? But it was what was her name? It'll come to me.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The brunette.
Yeah, the rich lady from Rhode Island. Oh,
Gosh, what was her name? I know exactly. Gloria Vanderbilt.
Yes.
Gloria Vanderbilt.
Yep.
That ADHD medicine really works sometimes. I mean, like I can recall things, whereas before, it was a half hour later or a day later, I'd finally remember. But yeah, like
That's
I swear we are like the generation of ADHD.
Yeah, it's funny when I don't know, I read about it and I'm like, oh yeah, I think I have ADHD, but I really try to practice to not have it. Like I have to work at it.
It's like
meditation,
it's a chemical
really
thing.
helps.
I
And
feel
eating well. Like if I don't really eat sugar and I don't eat junk food, but when I do, I get way more whacked out.
Yeah. Have you ever been on medication?
No.
Yeah, you might be like, oh my gosh, like your brain might just like open up. Like,
what does it do?
It took forever. Well, I mean, I feel normal, but it's like it just it doesn't completely fix the issues, but it makes it a lot better. Like the issues aren't as bad. Like for example, when we were trying to remember that lady's name, the jeans, Gloria Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Before this medicine, I probably would 3 days later, I would text you, oh my God, now I remember. Right. But now I was able to pull it up in 30 seconds?
Yeah. Well, we both said it at the same time. So interesting. What is it? What kind of medication is it? Is it the Ritalin stuff that they talk about or
no, that Ritalin stuff was bad. Oh my gosh.
Adderall? Is that the other one?
Yeah. Like there's all different kinds. There's like Adderall. The way the doctor explained it, there's 2 different types. One type, there's like Concerta, and I don't know what the other ones are. That's what I started out on, but it was making me like edgy, and I'm like, maybe we should try something else. So then he put me on the Adderall, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much better.
I just want something that makes me feel happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that. I mean, all the issues that come from it, it's like in school, I would constantly like drift off. I'd be like looking out the window. Teacher would be like, Miss Clark. I'm like, huh? What? Totally. And I wouldn't even know that I'm gone until I get back. Like if nobody brought me back.
The class, I was also like terrible at like instigating stuff in class because I'd be bored. Oh my God. Yeah.
See, that's what I mean. Like you get bored easy. You have a hard time staying on task. I couldn't read. I mean, I could read, but it's like I would not read because I would sit there when I'm reading a book. If I drift off, and then when I come back, I don't realize I'm gone until I come back and I'm like, oh my God, what did the last 5 pages say?
Yeah.
And then it's like how many times you have to go back and reread. So, but I mean, we weren't diagnosed then. So we were
Did you go to a psychiatrist to be diagnosed? Who diagnosed you? Okay.
Psychiatrist.
That's probably why you've never been diagnosed.
Yeah, but you should though. It might really help. I mean,
it's interesting, especially after this whole year, man. I was in a bad way this year. I had some big, good moments. It scared me.
Yeah, well, you can always call me. Especially if you were in dire need, say, hey, I really need you right now. I will drop what I'm doing. I'll be like, you know what?
Yeah. I'd never been like that before. So it was like, and then I read too about when you're on antibiotics that long. I was on these super severe because I had gotten an infection in the bone. So they put me on, basically they were going to put a PICC line in. And then they said, no, we can put you on these the pills, but they're just as strong. They're the strongest pills that you could take ever for 8 weeks. And it was so bad, it made me nauseous. I was sick. I could hardly eat. Like it was just the worst. But that messes with everything. And then it messes the chemical imbalances with your serotonin and your dopamine and all of that, which is, all the things that keep you balanced and happy and, not feeling like you want to kill yourself. And I actually wanted to off myself a couple of times. Like I've never even, it was crazy where I was so unhappy and so miserable and so much pain. I was like, I don't want to live like this. And
I would have taken myself off of it. I don't know. I'm
but
not.
I was so scared of losing my finger from the infection.
Oh God.
So it was like I had to. And then I decided I was going to go onto the PIC line because it was making me so nauseous to take all the pills. But then they said I would have had to start over and do the whole 8 weeks over again. And I was already like 4 weeks in. And I was like, oh, hell no. So then I just suffered for the other like 3.5 weeks. Yeah, that's really bad. So
God,
don't put the leash in between your fingers and mess up your fingers.
How big is your dog that he did that?
He's only like 52 pounds, but he's really strong. And when he's thrusting to go see his buddies and next to a finger, he could have been 25 pounds and still that kind of torque, right? I mean,
yeah. What kind of dog is that?
He's a rescue from Taiwan. He actually came over on an airplane from Taiwan.
Is he like mixed or is he like a breed?
He is. All of them are mixed. They're called Formosan mountain dogs. And he's a mix. He's so cute. I think he just walked outside. Oscar, are you here? Come here, baby. Come here. He's getting old, so he's all white now. But he has
dogs go great too.
Yeah, he is. His name's Oscar because he's named after Oscar de la Renta because he looks like he has a white tuxedo on. Come here, Oscar, come. Oh, he's totally like napping.
He's camera shy. He's like, I don't want to do YouTube. You humans, you're weird.
I know. He actually doesn't like that I'm on the computer all the time now.
Oh, yeah. My cat's the same way. She's like, excuse me. Hello, Queen Sheba over here. I need attention.
You're lucky she doesn't walk across your computer in front of your screen. That's what mine used to do.
Yeah, she knows. I've picked her up and put her on the floor so many times. I think she gets it. But the medicine, so I know how those side effects are. Like I'm like really leery about any kind of medicine. Like I don't like to take medicine unless you absolutely need it. But like, see, that's the thing with like those side effects like you were having. Like my mom, she was a baby boomer, obviously. But I mean, this whole big pharma thing was she was on medicine for depression. Not given to
the side effects are worse than
had to do with her choice of life partner. But she was suffered from severe depression when I was growing up. After she was single, she was fine. That's when I made the connection. I was like, anyway, so she was on a lot of medicine, and then she was on medicine for that, and the next thing you know, she needed to be on another medicine, and she had like all these health problems. But I really feel like a lot of these health problems came from the medicine she's on, because here's how it started, especially with the baby boomers. They're trying to fix some of that now, I feel like. But back then they would just make something up and it's like, okay, take this, then you take that medicine. And then it has side effects. So then you got to take medicine for those side effects. And then that medicine has side effects. And you take more medicine for those side effects. Because the problem was,
I don't believe in medication. I mean, I do for certain things, but not the way the doctors do it now. I think it's horrible. I'm more of a naturalist and believe in what you put in your body makes a difference. And so if you put in good, clean foods, and I think you can heal your body that way for the most part, depending on what it is. But yeah, it's
those
so
doctors get paid to prescribe certain medicines too that probably aren't that great for you.
No, and then of course, then they how do they know that they're not counteracting? And you have all these, it's horrible. And going to the doctor so much with this whole thing, they'll give me papers to fill out, right? And then it'll have like 3 pages that are blank, and it says write your medications down. And they'll go, what are your medications? You didn't fill these out. I go, I don't take anything. And they're like, and there's 3 pages in there. And I said, why are there so many pages? They go, some people need more. I was just like, So sad. No wonder Big Pharma makes
Yeah,
so much money. It's just wrong on so many levels.
it is. It's yeah, it's bad. And then yeah, I'm all about I feel like a lot of people are coming back to the more natural way of doing things and stuff. I mean, me just seeing what my mom went through was
Yeah.
enough to make me want to be, you know, as natural as possible.
So sad.
I
Yeah,
try
medication.
not to even overdo it with like Advil or anything like that.
Yeah.
Of course, now when I was younger, a little different story. I mean, I used to smoke. I always had a Pepsi and a Marble Light, but like I quit like 2008. So however many years ago that is. We're not doing math right now. It's too late. It's too late on
Okay.
a Saturday night. I'm not doing math.
Good 15 years. It's all good. It's all good. That's
But
nice.
yeah, oh my gosh, feels so much better. But when we're younger, man, we can put our bodies through some stuff. But yeah, but now I just like
She's good too.
feel like as you get older, you just want to be more healthy, and I feel like a lot of people are more moving to that
Yeah.
now nowadays. Yeah. Um. So yeah, my girlfriend, her dog just died. You were talking about dogs, and I was going to tell
Oh,
you
you
about
said that
her.
she might have to put him down. So
Yeah, she did, and it's like I feel so bad for her. I mean, I know how it is.
was he
She
was he really old?
no,
Oh.
not really old, but it was a Doberman, and the Dobermans, they don't have the longest expected life expectancy of a lot of other
They're
breeds.
so sweet too, but yeah, I know for some reason they kind of don't live past like 8 years or something. It's really
Yeah,
short.
and she just went through a really rough relationship, you know.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it's been over for a little while. Like I told her from the beginning, I'm like, maybe you should let this one go. But you can only tell your friends so much. They're gonna make their own decisions. I learned very early in life, in my teenage years, not to interfere with your girlfriend's relationships because they'll take your girlfriend away from you and isolate them, man, I'm telling you. But so I told her the other day, I was like super busy when she was telling me she was taking her to the vet, and I was just talking to her earlier, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to pick up his ashes," and I'm like, well,
mm,
"Listen, call me tomorrow. We'll schedule a time, and I'll go with you and everything." And yeah, she's a tough cookie though. She's super tough. But still, I sent her these videos of I okay, so let me backstory. I got to start with the backstory so you understand where I'm coming from. My mom passed away in October 21, and
mm.
um, it was really hard. It was she had COPD was one of the many things that she had, and she got COVID.
Ah,
And she's like, with all that her body was in such bad shape. She was walking on the wall. I mean, it was she had so many problems. And we even joked about, her. I said, "Man, when you're finally rid of this body and you're on the other side, you're gonna be doing cartwheels. You're gonna be like, yippee!" And like you're gonna be like so glad. She's like, "Yup, yup."
yeah.
So we talked about it. It was really heart wrenching to see her like that.
Mm.
However, she passed away of COVID, and it hit me hard. Like I was in the room with her when she died. They put us in this like I felt like I was on the movie E.T. You remember them guys when they were in them suits with the thing and the air coming in the back, and they put us in those to be in the
Well,
room.
you were lucky that you actually got to be there. I had a handful of clients that their family members were sick and they couldn't even be at the hospital with them.
That's
When a
just
couple of them passed, and so I'm glad you were at least able to be with her, even though you were in those hazmat suits and stuff.
there was so much ridiculousness
I
going
know.
on in the last 5 years or less. It's not even funny. I mean, it's been going on longer, but now everything's coming to light. But
Yeah.
yeah. So I was in there with her, and it was really hard. She was the sweetest thing ever,
Mm.
and so to kind of help deal with her being gone, I usually just wind down with like an hour or so before I go to bed, like YouTube or something on Netflix or whatever. And I came across videos that were of near death experiences.
Oh yeah, you were mentioning.
Yeah, so I was like, and I've been saying certain things for years. And the more near death experience videos that I started watching, the more I was like, oh my God, I've been saying that. I've been saying that. I've never had a near death experience, but just like things that just felt right to me that I kind of discovered over the years. And, I'm in that spiritual, not religious category, which
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people are moving into more and more nowadays.
yeah.
So, and I found this podcast YouTube channel called Next Level Soul. Wow. He's good. Um, so anyway, so I sent my girlfriend, one of the things they talk about on these NDEs are pets. And this one guy was like, where he's like, and I tell you, the rainbow bridge is a real thing. There's not a rainbow bridge. However, when you get to the other side, all the dogs and the cats and the rabbits and all the pets that you ever had, they're all running and playing together in the field in the sunshine. And then 3 of my dogs that I had in my life came running up to me, and I was like, oh, I was like crying watching this. I was like, oh my gosh, we get to see our pets again.
Right?
So I found that, yeah, because they have souls too. I mean, I feel like anything that's alive has to have a soul. Which,
Yeah.
if you start going down that rabbit hole, kind of makes you feel bad for eating meat and stuff. But there's another cat of mine. But so I sent her a video of where they were talking about pets being on the other side.
Wow.
People cross over. Yeah. I mean, some of
So,
these.
so the people that had like a near death experience experienced that with the pets, and that's how we know about it because they didn't actually die, and then they told us.
Well, they died, but they came back.
Okay.
That's what a near death experience is. You actually die. Your spirit leaves your body, but then
okay.
you have
So
a
it's a
certain
quick death experience, real, not a near death, because it was like you actually did
right.
die. It's a
Well,
quick
they
death.
say near death because you don't stay that way, I guess.
Oh,
Excuse
okay.
me. I forgot to get them out before the
I think
podcast.
it's great.
Rem, you're on YouTube, bud. He's old. He's 16.
Wow.
Yeah. My
My
daughter.
sister-in-law's cat just died. She was 25. This is how old she was. Guess what her name was? What was popular to drink in
Fluffy.
Zima? Remember Zima?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It was her college cat. Isn't that hilarious?
That was
Yeah, she just died.
version. That was the 80s version of White Claw.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It was like the
Yeah, but
first.
I gotta send you some of these near-death experience ones. I'm telling you. There was 2 in particular off the top of my head that just knocked me. I felt like they just hit me right here. One was this guy was young. He was like in his early 20s. And he was dead for, it says they can measure that he was dead for at least 45 minutes.
What?
Probably more like an hour and a half.
How come they don't get brain damage?
Well, he was really young, but he was actually even in a body bag.
Creepy.
So I gotta send you the link to that. I mean, it's like there's the next level soul. It's really good because the guy that does that, his name is I forgot his first name. His last name's Alex Ferrari. I think he's from California too. He's like in the movie industry, but so he does these interviews, and this guy was dead for a long time, but and this guy worked in the movie industry as well when he was like, at that point in his life, and he was working out, and they took some kind of supplement or something, and this they were, everybody was using it, but it was hard to get in the United States, so they got it from overseas, but it turned out that it was the concentrated form.
Uh-oh.
and you're not supposed to take more than a capful. So that's what happened. And these guys are like, "Well, let's go get something to eat. Maybe we'll feel better." And then as they're like going in the sub shop or wherever they were going in, and one passed out, and he ran to the bathroom, and he must have passed out as soon as he got in the bathroom, but nobody knew he was in there.
What kind of pill was he taking?
Oh, it wasn't a pill. It was like a liquid form. It was like a
Oh,
supplement for working out. So he
oh,
he goes in
and he was in the
so much
bathroom.
detail. He was
Oh,
literally watching, and I hear this a lot. A lot of these people, they're watching their own death, and
that's good.
they're outside of their body watching, people trying to work on them in an operating room or watching
Yeah,
their self in an ambulance, but they don't realize that it's their self they're watching, their body that they're watching. They're like, that person kind of looks like me, but it can't be me because I'm here.
right.
So that's what this guy was for the longest time. He's watching the people tag him and bag him. He's watching the ambulance people talk to each other, and the policeman take a report and everything else. And in the back of the
Oh
the
my God, it's so crazy.
ambulance, and he was like watching this. There was a new guy on the job. It was two ambulance guys and this new guy on the job. And then he's watching this guy, and it's like when you're outside your body, like it's impossible to be fake when you're not in human form, because you can hear, feel everybody's thoughts and feelings.
Wow.
And he could hear this guy thinking and feeling, man, why couldn't we just help this one? Because they were able to help his friend. Why couldn't we help this guy? Such a shame. Like, I don't know. He was like feeling like that, feeling really bad.
Did he
His
actually
first
talk to
week in
that
the
guy
job.
later? And no,
Huh?
and did he actually talk to that guy later and find out that's exactly what he was saying? He said, "This is what I heard you say."
No,
It
this
was
is what he was thinking. But listen, so that's not even the best part. The best part is, as
crazy.
he's sitting there watching and feeling this guy feel sorry for his body, he said he hears this. He started seeing, he could see this like light in the center of his chest, and it was just like kind of radiating, and like, like this light just automatically appeared in this guy's chest, and it was like this. And then this voice, this male voice from behind him came over top of him and was like, this one's not dead. And he said, I started looking around because I was like, where did that come from? Did you hear that? And he's
Oh,
like, oh, the guy, he could tell that the guy heard that too. This one's not dead. And then he was like, no, he's been gone for 45 minutes. That's crazy. And it's really against the law if somebody's been pronounced dead to try to bring them back. Did you know that?
oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, he was sitting there and they're driving, and there are two ambulance, the veterans are in the front seat talking about the game and everything. And he's just sitting there and they're watching the guy, feel sorry for him. And then again, even louder and stronger, this voice comes from behind him over top of him. And this guy's heart chakra or whatever was like glowing, and it went even stronger this time. And this voice goes, this one's not dead, right? And he was like, and then he just, like opened up the body bag, and he just like kind of started working on them. And then the two ambulance drivers were like, no, 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 no. What are you doing? You can't do that. You are like breaking so many rules right now and laws. You can't. And he just didn't listen to him. And he just kept, he went, do those, what are those things
Yeah,
called?
yeah. The defibrillator.
That charge noise.
Oh my
And he zapped him a couple times, and he got like
God.
one heartbeat. By the time they got to the hospital, he had a very slow, faint heartbeat. And that's how he was brought back.
And he didn't have brain damage or anything after that?
No, maybe because he was so young,
Or
or
maybe he was on that weird liquid supplement thing.
it wasn't. Yeah, I
He
was,
just
yeah, that
lowered his
might
heart
be
where everything was just slow enough where they thought he was dead.
like what not Julia, Romeo and Juliet. She took this
Right,
kind of stuff back then where it kind of
right,
made everybody think she was dead.
right, right.
Might be, but the thing is, he was outside of his body. And then he was in the hospital for a while. And while he was in the hospital, he went to the other side. His spirit went to the other side. And I don't remember everything that he was describing over there, but you should hear some of these stories. It's just like, oh, I mean, it makes me feel good that I know my mom's in a good place.
Yeah.
And like I've never had a near death experience or anything like that. However, I have had dreams that feel very different from regular dreams. And I can tell the difference. There's a couple ways I can tell the difference. One, it just feels different. Two, there's hardly any scenery. And I visited my grandmother. I feel like it was like God, I don't know, a handful of times, maybe 5 or 6 different times. Right after my husband and I split up, I was going through a rough patch there. And it's like, I know I was visiting her because she looks young. She looked like she was like 30. I have no
Wow.
idea what she looked like when she was 30, but there was like no talking. And it was like, I was just like, like so just happy to be with her. But there's always hardly any scenery. Like there was a brick wall and me and her, and everything was misty. And there were like random people walking by. I could see out of the corner of my eye, but that was it. The only scenery was a brick wall and it was misty. And I was so happy to be with her. But before that, actually, the how I woke up from that was somebody was waking me up in real life. And it was like, as they were waking me up, I was like, no, no, no. And I was like reaching out for her. I'm like, no, because I know that I was being woken up. And she was just like, and I was like so upset that I had to leave without, it wasn't my choice. Yeah. And then, but before that, I had a dream about her and my grandfather. And the only scenery was there was a table and there were the chairs that we were sitting in. There was misty stuff all around us, and there was a window. And it was like a bright white light outside the window, but it wasn't blinding. And it was just like some peach sheer drapes that were just kind of gently blowing in the breeze. And I looked at them and I was like, I wasn't really talking, I don't think, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you guys. Like, I miss you so much. And then I was like, wait a minute, I can't talk to you. You're dead. And then they started fading away. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Don't go. I'm sorry. Come back. Like, I've had like a whole handful of dreams like that where I feel like I was like visiting people. There were 2 different girlfriends that I visited. But yeah, they just have a whole different feeling. I haven't had one in a long time.
Have you ever seen a ghost or had like a ghost experience?
One time. And look, I was so freaked out. I don't know if I maybe have that ability and I just keep it blocked because I don't want to, I don't know. But I saw one time and I was super scared. I was so freaking scared. I was thinking so hard and sending out so much energy because he was sitting facing somebody that was sitting in front of him, but I couldn't see the person that was sitting in front of him. And the reason I know somebody was sitting in front of him is because he looked like he was talking and like with his hands and stuff like that. And I can explain to you exactly what he looks like to this day. But he was facing the person that he was talking to. He looked like he was talking and moving his hands. And I was like, with all my might, I was thinking, don't look at me. Because if he would have turned around and went like this, I would have went, and I just would have freaked out. So I was just like, don't look at me. Yeah. But yeah, that I never went back there. That was like so scary.
So funny.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
So I've never actually seen a ghost, but I've had experiences with ghosts.
Oh, tell us about them.
So one of them was I was with an old boyfriend and we were staying at this old B&B. It was like a really old Victorian. It was like 150 years old up in Northern California. And we were there like a couple days or something. And there was like a wardrobe in the room. And there was where like I had shut the door and then went over to the side and then I came back and the door was open. And I was like, that's weird. But I kept feeling like somebody was there, And so I kind of looked and my boyfriend was like, maybe I think outside doing something, like wasn't even in the room. So I was like, that was weird. And then I shut the door and I tried to test it to see if it would just like, oh, like the floor is crooked, you know, and just kind of would open, but it would actually latch. And so I actually latched it, and then I moved again, and I came, and then I turned around and it was open again. And I was like, and I go, I feel like somebody's here. I go, is somebody here? And then the front door to the room came ajar, and I was like, what? So then I was like, okay. I go, are you mad that I'm here or anything like that? And it was like nothing happened. And so I was like, and I didn't feel scared, but it definitely felt a presence. And so when I went downstairs, I talked to the lady who owned the place. It was kind of like a bread and breakfast, so she lived there. And I said, do you happen to have ghosts here? And she goes, oh, I think you met, it's been so long. It was like Bernard or something like that. I can't remember. And I was like, what? She goes, yeah, he lives in, he hangs out in that room and doesn't always come out for everybody. He must like you or something like that. And I was like, yeah, totally met him. I was like, I told her my experience. She goes, oh yeah, he's harmful or whatever. It was really bizarre. So that was one of the ones.
Did you ever see that movie? It was called The Others.
Yes. With Nicole Kidman, I think.
Yes. So it's like,
oh my God, it's got goosebumps.
I know, right? I mean, that is like a really good explanation of ghosts. I mean, you know, we grew up with poltergeist, but I really don't think they have better things to do than just try to scare us and get a laugh out of it. You know,
yeah,
what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a reason that they're there. And so for all the viewers, spoiler alert, she refused to believe that they were dead because of how they died. And the kids loved her so much that they just stayed with her and just kind of carried on until the daughter started getting sick of it. And then they came to the point where all the truth was revealed. Yeah. So in today's day and age, or whenever the people bought the house, they were like, oh, this house is haunted. But you're also watching the movie from the people who have passed point of view, who are still in the house, and they think that, or they actually think that they're living in the house. It's reality to them. They're living in the house, and they're like,
it was tricky. It was one of those ones
to help. She's like, well,
those...
I told you not to shut these curtains, but it was really the people in real life that were shutting the curtains, stuff like that.
That was one of those ones that you didn't figure it out until the very end. And then it was like you had to think back. So it was almost like you had to rewatch it, kind of like The Sixth Sense. Like you didn't see the things that were happening, and then you went back and you watched it, and you're like, oh my God, you didn't notice those things, you know? And yeah.
So really, like you hear that a lot. Like in these ghost movies and stuff, they hear like in Sixth Sense, even he was like, I see dead people. They're walking around like everybody else, but they don't know that they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know she was dead. She blocked it out of her head. But I mean, is that like a thing? And I've also heard that the only hell that there is the one that, well, when you go through your life review, they all say the same thing about a life review. When you go through every single thing that was said or done in your life, and if it was an interaction with someone else, you feel simultaneously what it felt like to be them. So anybody that you've hurt, you feel they're hurt, and sometimes even the ripple effects that it would have for other people. Like, you know, you got in a fight with your husband, and then he cussed this lady out, and it depressed her for the day, and she kicked a dog, and the dog was sad, and then the dog bit somebody. You know what I mean? There's like ripple effects, like literally. It's funny, but not. And then so the life review, and then sometimes people or spirit, whatever, sometimes people will punish themselves. They're like, oh, God, I feel so horrible about having done that. So they keep themselves stuck in this energy or whatever, like stuck in this house where something never got worked out. And they feel like if they just stay in that house, they can work it out. But that's why those 3 servants came to the house and the others to try to help her move on.
Yeah, you know, I don't remember the entire movie. I'd have to rewatch it again.
Oh, so she's in the house with her kids, and
Yeah.
and then you see these three people walking up to the house, and they were raking leaves, but you don't know till the end they were trying to hide their headstones. But they had come, and she said, "Ma'am, we're here about the ad that you put in for the paper for help or whatever."
Yeah.
Her husband had went off to war, and he actually died in the war.
Right.
So she's like, "Oh, okay, what took you so long?" Right? But they were actually there to help her. I hear that a lot too. There's people that help you through things, other, guardian angels and stuff.
Yeah.
But those three were there to help her try to move on and accept what really happened and move on. And we could talk about this for hours. So then the other thing we were going to talk about is like technology. That is one of the biggest reasons why we're called the bridge generation.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, you never heard that? The bridge generation?
I did. I heard that, but I didn't know what it meant.
That's the biggest thing that it means. We bridge the gap from a lot of things, but technology is one of the biggest ones. So, we grew up with no internet. One of the reasons our parents locked us out of the house and told us to go play in traffic.
I know. I mean, it's like a catch-22, I mean, I see my clients' kids and I think, man, like it was great. Like we were like gone and it was like, what time is it? I got to be home by 6, or something like that, and we would just ask somebody for the time or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, okay, I got to go, and ride your bike home and, see you later or something like that. But, and I was a total latchkey kid. So
yeah, there was a lot of that going on to supplement incomes. Mom started working.
Yeah. But it's interesting because now kids, like they can't even do anything. They can't even play out on the street or ride their bikes or anything.
It's not safe. But
sad.
Thankfully, one of the reasons we were outside all the time is we drove our parents crazy because there was literally nothing to do. Literally, like there was only Saturday morning cartoons. There was no video games. There was no. I mean, you can only read so many children's books. I mean, there literally wasn't anything to do. We would ride our bikes.
Yeah, ride our bikes.
Trees. We would play with mud pies.
Yeah,
we would go to playgrounds and get in fights with other little kids. Yeah, I remember during the summertime, I had a best friend that lived about 9 houses down the end of the street. Me and her were together all the time. She had a pool. I had a pool. We lived in the pool. We came out only to eat and go to the bathroom. That's it. But we were in the pool from sun up to sunset.
Nice.
And then when the pools got closed, then we would be riding our bikes. And yeah, we walked to school together and everything. But that's why. But and then technology. I mean, we lived, in the BG period before Google.
Oh yeah.
When the internet was turned on, you literally, first of all, there weren't that many websites. And then if there was, you had to know the whole URL, all those symbols and signs and letters.
The HTTPS, and you had to have www.
Yes. It started getting dangerous. People started getting hacked. And then Google came up with the search engine, which is really revolutionized the internet. And then everybody started buying computers when they were more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
There was only Apple and Commodore 64.
What was your first computer?
Well, our first computer was a Commodore 64. I think they were cheaper.
I had an iMac, a purple one. But
I'm talking about when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't have one when I was a kid. Although my first, I mean, I had, like, I'm trying to think of like technology. What were the first things I had? I had the watch calculator. Remember?
Oh,
it was on your watch.
I don't
even know. And then I had one of the things that I used for work was, what was it called? Was it Trick or something like that? Why am I blanking on the name of that? It was basically, I kept all my formulas and my clients' names and everything in there. And you had a little stylus and you can write their name in there and you can write their, you tapped on all the letters And it was basically before like BlackBerry and stuff came out.
Huh. I
Or
don't
the
even
T.
remember.
What the hell was that called? Oh, sorry, there I go again.
That's okay.
Adult language. Sorry.
Joe Rogan podcast drops the F-bomb left and right and all kinds of stuff. I mean, they drink and smoke and
On whose podcast?
Joe Rogan,
Oh,
number one podcast.
right. That's so funny.
But,
Oh my gosh, so
yeah,
great.
I mean, I had a BlackBerry. I think I still have it. It's like a little purple BlackBerry with a keyboard. I was like, wow. Because my grandfather retired from NASA and he told me when I was a teenager, he told me when I was actually younger than a teenager that pretty soon everybody would be walking around with a phone and you would not have to be home to get a phone call. And I did not believe him.
Huh.
And then he also told us we'd be walking around with a computer in our pocket.
Oh, it's called the Palm.
Yeah.
Remember the Palm? That's what it was called.
Yeah. And then
There it
it was
is.
BlackBerry.
Right. Yeah, that's what I had. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then what was really cool is you could pop up to the other person's and you know, put them head to head, and it would just transfer your name and address and everything into theirs.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like,
Wow.
when you
So I love the stylist. I mean, I have a phone with a stylus in it right now. I love these.
yeah.
They're like awesome.
So is that a an Android?
Yes. Do not tell Pace because he makes fun of us. But look, I started with the Droid. You know what my favorite phone was?
I don't know if we can be friends anymore. Just kidding.
All right, don't jump on the Pace train, okay?
I'm sorry,
I mean,
Apple lover.
what is it about Apple that's so great? It's just a bunch of apps, right? I mean,
He teases because he says he doesn't like it that you have to buy a phone and then add apps to it. And then he also hates it if he's on an airplane and he can't text you because of iMessage. Because you can sync to even if you don't have like a Wi-Fi. So that's, you know, so he just likes to tease, and he can tease because it's kind of a neutral teasing thing. But that's pretty funny.
My son has only ever had Apple, and my girls have gone back and forth. Of course, he's the Gen Z, and they're millennials, so they've gone back and forth between Android and Apple. I think Sam had an iPhone first, and then she switched to Android. But I started with the Android. I loved having the computer, not just a bunch of apps. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I get the Apple. It is smooth. It's not as glitchy, but
I
love that Droid. Remember the Droid where it was like long ways? You would slide it up, and there was the keyboard.
Oh yeah,
that was my favorite. I love that one.
I think to this day though, my favorite phone that I ever had was the Motorola, because it was an analog and it sounded the best. You know, you had to pull the little thing out, and it was like the size. It was a little thick, but man, I think that was good. But my favorite phone altogether, probably so far, was my Razor, the flip Razor, because it was super slim and you could put it in your back pocket, and it wasn't like a big bulky thing.
You know, they got that again. The flip that you can fold in half, and
I know my client got is the Motorola, but like the whole screen folds. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, I actually have that, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you have that one too?
Yeah, I had that one, and but you know what? I went and got this one because I really missed the stylus. I had to flip the one that opened like this. But yeah, I miss my stylus so much. So
cool. Can you like hand write in it and then it transfers it?
I mean, you know, they have that thing now where you can like tap each other's phone and just like share information.
Oh, that's cool.
I've never done it.
But I mean, for your stylus, when you use your stylus, are you tapping letters, or are you actually?
Oh yeah, I use it for all kinds of stuff. Like
but can you hand write like
you can?
And then it transfers it. That's cool.
It does a lot of things, but the main things I use it for is like to make myself sleepy, I play this like blocks game, and it's a lot easier to move with the pen than your fingers. And then another thing I use it for is, you can have your phone like this, and you have this stylus pen, right? And you can hold the phone like this to go to take a picture. Let me see if you can see me. And then you can push the button on your stylus.
Oh, well,
And
that's
it'll
pretty
take
cool.
a picture. It does a lot of things, but those are the main ones I use. And then list, sometimes I'll just like, look, say.
Yep. That's cool.
Oh, wait. There we go.
There you go. Yeah. That's very cool.
So yeah, I mean, I'm all about the stylus. Ever since they came out with the stylus, I'm like, oh my God, I love that. Yeah. So, and I missed it. That's the Note. This one is the S22 Ultra. But I was getting the Notes for a while. Note 4, Note 6, whatever.
What kind of phone is that?
This one is the S22 Ultra. Everybody's like, it's big.
But by who?
I'm like, yeah, but my eyesight isn't as good as it used to be.
But by who? Like, who makes it?
This is Android Galaxy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Galaxy. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Samsung.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, they'll give you a credit for your phone. The newer it is, the more money you'll get for it.
Yeah.
So I was going to trade in my Flip, and I set it up, but I just didn't go to the UPS store fast enough. I was going to get $800 for the freaking Flip phone.
Wow.
And then I was just too late. I was like a day or two past it, and they wouldn't take it, and they sent it back. So I thought I was going to get $800 credit for this. Nope.
Oops.
Yep. Like,
ruh-roh.
Stinks.
Well, you better not drop it.
Yeah. Well, I got good cases, and it's got a screen protector on it, and it's got, I'm telling you, those glass ones, they're crap. But like, you get the plastic one like this. It's like one that you can peel off. They're the best.
Oh, that's cool.
To protect against scratches and stuff. They're actually the best. Because the glass ones will crack themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't know why they came up with that, but fine. So, what are you doing tomorrow besides our Project Forward Zoom?
That's right. I don't know. It's my one day off with my man. So.
Okay.
My neighbor just told me about. They do it once a year. That's called Porch Fest, and they have like in this whole one little neighborhood, there'll be random. I think you get like a little map, but it's basically a bunch of people who play music. They have little bands, and they'll play on people's porches, and then you just walk around and listen to them play. And there are different types of music. Like one could be country music, and one could be jazz, and one could be whatever. And you just kind of walk around and on the map and see who's playing, and you just stand there and watch them play for a little while. Yeah.
Is that like a neighborhood thing, or is that? Oh wow.
I've always missed it because it's usually on a Saturday, and well, of course I'm not working now. So, but then my neighbor just told me it was tomorrow, so I'm like, oh, maybe we'll go do that because I've never got to see it.
Yeah. So I so wish I lived closer to you.
I know.
We would be hanging out all the time.
Yeah, it's a cool little thing because it's,
you would definitely be doing my hair, that's for sure.
Thanks. You too. I coerce you.
I gave that up a while ago. I love doing it, but you know what my favorite thing to do, favorite kind of job that I've ever had was waitressing and bartending. I loved it. Like and that's probably why, like, whatever that is that really liked doing that is the same thing that in me that makes me like doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
It makes me like doing stuff like hopping on Zooms and meeting people and talking to people, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I love just like spending that hour with people, and like I could do it with like, 10 different tables at the same time. Like, hi guys, how you doing? I could take care of them. They were always in a good mood because they were going out to eat, and
Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah.
And It's great in places where people love when they love to do that, because then they're good at it and it's fun, you know, and that's what makes going out. I love dining out, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a lot of fun for me. Out of all the things I've done, that was the most fun.
Cool.
Wasn't the
Cool.
most money, but it was the most fun.
Yeah, right. It all depends on where you're at, I guess. So,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait to have you on next.
Thank you for coming on my show. And definitely, you know, if there's some, if you ever want to come on again in the future, I've been really putting it out there. So,
You're doing great.
yeah, but I'm only doing filming on like Saturdays and Sundays. I got everything spread out. You know, I got the other podcast, and then I do these like 15-minute sporadic
That's good. I can
Zoom meetings for Subto people. Yeah, but I'm gonna raise my hand when I get in there tomorrow, and I'm gonna see if I can do like, I mean, I guess I wouldn't have to say anything to Pace. I could just do it, right?
Yeah.
Do a Zoom. I don't know how you do that. Maybe he'd let me use his account or something. Like if you get like a few hundred people that all want to get on there, I don't know if my Zoom account can handle that.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't want to pay for it just to do that one instruction.
Well, then maybe raise your hand.
Yeah.
Or you know what? If you put it in the side chat and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about. I've been getting asked by students these questions. Can you guys let me know if you would be interested in it?" And if you get like a ton of people scrolling in the side chat, then you know, and then you can raise your hand and ask Pace.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea. Anyway. All right, honey, you have a great Saturday night. Have a great day tomorrow.
Thank you.
And yeah, and thanks so much for coming on the show.
Well, thanks
Bye,
for having
everybody.
me. I really appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you next time. Stay right there.